morning, Ohio gozaimasu. My name is Lieutenant Allison Maruca, and I am pleased to be here this morning to give you a presentation on the Commander U.S. 7th Fleet. I'm a public affairs officer, I'm part of the 7th Fleet staff, and I'm actually a reservist, and I'm a member of the Reserve Public Affairs Unit attached to the staff. Prior to my current position, though, I was previously stationed in Yokosuka, Japan, on the USS Cowpens from 2007 to 2009, and I have since returned with my family on behalf of the U.S. Navy, and we've come to call Japan our second home. And so I'm very honored and deeply humbled that I've been asked to come and give this presentation today, and hope you'll take just a little bit of information back with you as you prepare to start your own naval careers in the very near future. I know you're probably pretty familiar already. You might have actually even been underway with some of our ships or flown some training flights with our aircraft here in Japan. But today we're going to talk about the history of the 7th Fleet, the leadership, our mission, command structure, our regional priorities as set by the President of the United States, and we'll talk about the U.S.-Japan alliance. Our history, 7th Fleet began in March of 1943, and we have a long and esteemed history that is centered around naval leadership and activity being focused here in Yokosuka. From major conflicts like the Vietnam and Korean Wars to tensions in areas such as the Taiwan Straits, or Straits of Taiwan, and the Korean Peninsula, U.S. 7th Fleet assets have always been ready to go and respond to any issue or disaster or military action. Our headquarters are embarked on the USS Blue Ridge, which is forward deployed from Yokosuka, Japan, and it has been since October 1979. From the post-World War II era to today's global war on terrorism, 7th Fleet maintains a presence of forward operability to sustain the alliance between the United States and Japan, but also to provide regional support to the nations throughout the Indo-Asia Pacific region. In September 2015, Vice Admiral Joseph P. Aucoin assumed the role as Commander U.S. 7th Fleet. He is a naval aviator by designation and has a long esteemed career as a fighter pilot. However, this isn't his first time in Japan. He previously commanded the Air Wing, which at the time was embarked on USS Kitty Hawk, which is now the USS Ronald Reagan. He's ardently passionate about enhancing the alliance between the United States and Japan and strengthening the maritime stability of the region. So our area of responsibility encompasses 124 million square kilometers, and it stretches in the east from the international dateline to the India-Pakistan border in the west, the Kuril Islands in the north, and then the Antarctic in the south. Our area of operations encompasses 36 countries and over 50% of the world's population. This area of the world, as I'm sure you know, encompasses some of the most important and vital economic waterways that are very important to the economic stability of our entire world. And such waterways like the Straits of Malacca or the Taiwan Straits connect different parts of the world through vital supply routes, even in today's modern society, to keep the globe stable. Now you can see here, it might be a little hard to see from where you're sitting, but everybody received handouts when the presentation started. So you can see the breakdown of the 9 command task forces that make up 7th Fleet. Each one of these is commanded by 1 or 2-star admiral or general, and they're actually stationed throughout the region, not just here in Japan. There are several that are based here in Japan, but we've got quite a few out in Guam and one down in Singapore. So everything ranging from our ships stationed here in Japan and aircraft stationed here in Japan and the Marines, to special warfare units out in Guam, to our logistics down in Singapore, our Korean liaisons over in the Republic of Korea. So I'll let you can read that on your own time. In 2013, President Barack Obama shifted his national security strategy in what we call the rebalance to the Pacific. In doing so, the U.S. 7th Fleet Commander's priorities shifted to align with that strategy, and they are readiness, presence, and deterrence. And so in order to execute that, the commander keeps all of the U.S. assets that are based in 7th Fleet poised and ready to go at a moment's notice, well positioned geographically so that they should be able to respond to a military action or a natural disaster requiring humanitarian assistance, and deter volatile nations from taking actions that could require retaliation. Under Article 5 of the Treaty of Mutual Operation and Security between the United States and Japan, the United States is obliged to protect Japan in close cooperation with the Japanese self-defense forces. Article 6 of that treaty is what allows us to have our U.S. bases here throughout the country. There are several military bases, Air Force, Army, Navy, and Marine Corps bases stationed throughout the country, but there are quite a few that are just specific 7th Fleet assets, and those are Misawa Air Base, Yokosuka Naval Base, Naval Air Facility at Tsugi, Marine Corps Air Station Iwakuni, Sasebo Naval Base, and Marine Corps Base Camp Butler down in Okinawa. Having these assets stationed throughout the country and being forward deployed allows us to not only support the alliance between our two countries, but also the maritime defense of our two countries' interests throughout the region. We also conduct a variety of different training exercises throughout the year that are pretty regular and routine. In February, we just wrapped up an import exercise called our Fleet Synthetic Training Joint, which brought Japanese and American Navy and Marine Corps forces together from all over the country. We just wrapped up multi-sail last week, which is a surface ship training exercise that's conducted off the coast of Guam between American and Japanese ships. And then we wrap up every year with our annual exercise, which is in the fall, and that encompasses submarines, aircraft, and ships. And doing these training exercises allows us to enhance our partnership and to train better so that we are prepared to ready to respond to military action or humanitarian assistance. And the most recent response, I'm sure is all fresh in your mind, is what we call our Operation Tomodachi, March 11, 2011. And it was the response to the earthquake, tsunami, and the explosion at the Fukushima nuclear plant. At the time, the USS Ronald Reagan and accompanying ships were in the area, so they were deployed immediately and stationed off the coast of Miyagi Prefecture. And during the operation, we had 24 naval vessels, 24,000 personnel, and 189 aircraft utilized between the two countries to support search and rescue operations, debris removal, as well as getting food, supplies, and water to areas that were cut off due to road access. As tragic as the incident and the operation was, it really highlighted the benefits of the training that we'd done for years together as two nations, and we as Americans were able to support our host nation, Japan, in its most dire time of need. That concludes my presentation. Should you have any questions, I will be sticking around for a little while afterwards. However, feel free to come down and ask them or just say hi. I've also put my contact information here if you would like to reach out after today, which is perfectly fine. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope you found just a little bit of new knowledge to take home with you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Arigatou gozaimasu. Sayonara.